Good morning, everybody. Good morning, at least from beautiful, rainy BC here today. Good afternoon, I guess, to everybody else from the rest of the provinces. My name is Bill Hardy. I'm on the Canadian Nursery Landscape Association board, as well as the Communities in Bloom board. I'm here today to help facilitate this session and get it rolling. First of all, welcome to our 2020 virtual symposium presentation with the City of Brampton on their exciting backyard program. Before we begin though, I do want to take some time to thank all of our Communities in Bloom sponsors and partners for their contribution towards our 2020 special edition. Their support and the support of our registered communities is truly appreciated. In fact, we could not do it without them. Today's webinar is sponsored by one of our major national sponsors, Scott's. So I want to thank Scott's very much for their support for our program this year. We appreciate what Scott's does for us. And as a matter of fact, my next order of business is to introduce Karen Stephenson, Director of Regulatory Affairs and Stakeholder Relations, to the webinar today. Thanks, Karen, for joining us and helping us out with this year's program. Before I turn it over to Karen, just a couple of housekeeping things that I missed for the last one. Please enter questions that you have in the Q&A box down below versus the chat box. The chat box just goes to the panelists versus the whole crowd. So please use the Q&A and feel free to do those as we progress. You don't have to wait till the end. We can that way have a bunch queued up for the end of the presentation. So Karen, off to you.
Thanks, Bill. Really happy to be here today and taking part in Communities in Bloom's 2020 virtual symposium representing Scott. So, you know, one of the mantras of Scott's and the founder of Miracle Grow, Horace Hagedorn, which still exists in our organization today, was to find a need and to fill it. And this applies equally to us creating lawn and garden products as much as it does to helping out in communities where we live and work. So whether Scott's Canada is creating and offering new products like our Grub B Gone grub control product, which we introduced this year, supporting community programs like the Brampton program that Councillor Whillans is going to talk to us about today, or offering national programs like Grow 1000 and Grow for Good. We really see it as part of our responsibility to help Canada become a better place. And that's why partnering with Communities in Bloom has been so important to us, because we really share that common goal. And so I want to start by thanking all the communities participating today for their tireless work in making our communities the best that they can be. And I hope that you and your loved ones have all remained safe and healthy during these unprecedented COVID times. So today I'd like to welcome our speaker, Councillor Bill Whillans from the City of Brampton, as well as Rob Gasper, the Director of Parks, who will be speaking to us today on their new backyard program. And in the midst of the global pandemic, this municipality found an innovative, eco-friendly way to unite the community and help fight food insecurity. As the first municipality in Canada to launch this initiative, or this innovative green initiative in response to COVID-19, the program chair, Councillor Doug Whillans, will share how this idea came to fruition and how the community responded. And I also wanted to take a moment to thank the Scott's team. Some of them have called into this webinar today to hear more about the program. There were numerous Scott's folks who worked together to ensure that an estimated 14 truckloads of soil made it to Brampton on time, while also dealing with the additional COVID safety procedures that our company had put in place, and the busiest selling season that we've had in the history of Scott's Canada. So I just wanted to thank everyone who made the Brampton program a success. As Bill had already mentioned, feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A box throughout this presentation, and we'll do our best to address them all at the end. You can find that Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. If it's disappeared, you may just need to hover your mouse over the bottom of your Zoom screen to have it pop up again. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Councillor Whillans. Councillor, we look forward to your presentation today.
Thank you, Karen. Let me get my screen up here. Oh, wait a minute. Something's happened here. This will stop. Okay, yes. Here we go. Let me get that on full view for us. There we go. So thank you very much for having us here today. As Karen mentioned, I am City Councillor Doug Whillans of the City of Brampton here in Brampton, Ontario. And today we're actually joined with by Rob Gasper. He's got his mic on mute right now, but he'll be around for some of the questions and answers afterwards if there are any, which I'm sure there will be. It was a pretty exciting program for Brampton. But so today we'll be discussing how, in the midst of the global pandemic, we found an innovative, eco-friendly way to bring our community together and to help fight food security. We'll be sharing how this green idea came to life and how the community responded and lessons learned along the way. COVID-19 hit all our communities in the world instantly, and it impacted everyone's life. As news of the pandemic spread, so did fear, causing immediate shortage in supplies, especially food. With tighter restrictions, communities in lockdown, and people out of work, our vulnerable population became more isolated and fell deeper in crisis. Some were already facing hardships, and this pandemic made it even more difficult. The City of Brampton did take quick action, and we set up a Mayor's COVID-19 Social Support Task Force. This task force coordinated recommendations and responses to homelessness and food security to provide the necessary social support for Brampton's vulnerable community. As more people relied on food banks, the higher demand was felt by the food banks. To put it in context, March, the social task force provided 68 households. To date, the City of Brampton has made more than 3,500 food deliveries to residents in need. As someone who is passionate about growing my own food supply, I knew I could encourage others to do so as well, especially if they were provided with the right tools. So, the backyard program was created. Oh, I'm not switching sides, I'm sorry. So here we are at the background. So on April 15th, 2020, the City of Brampton launched the Backyard Garden Program as an added measure to help support the community. The program encouraged residents to produce vegetables and herbs from the comfort of their own homes and donate the homegrown crops to local food banks. With COVID-19 physical distancing measures in effect, this new initiative also encouraged residents to get active during a period of isolation. The city already had a robust community garden program in place, but due to COVID-19 restrictions, this program was in jeopardy. Gardening and living an eco-friendly way of life has always been a passion of mine. I wanted residents who were already going through a rough time during the pandemic to continue gardening, enjoy the outdoors while isolating, and give back to the community where they can. It was only fitting that we bring the program to the residents. As an added bonus, there was also an opportunity for the first-time gardeners to learn more and try it out. It was open to all residents. The program offered a free yard of soil and packages of vegetable seeds, along with growing advice to help everyone dig in. COVID-19 hit us all. No one was spared, but some were more fortunate than others. This program also gave the community a common sense of purpose amid all uncertainty around the new frightening pandemic. United, we knew we could support one another. Within 3 days of launching the program, 6,000 residents had registered for the program, and 8,000 more were put on a waiting list. Given the overwhelming response, we needed to act quickly as a city and expedite the program and relied heavily on the city's Parks and Forestry Division. We also reached out to the community for support. More than 45 volunteers donated their time to help sort seeds and deliver them to the residents. Every delivery included a flyer with details about the program and ways residents could give back to the community. With high demand and little time, we needed to quickly source large amounts of garden soil and vegetable seeds. We reached out to our vendors for supply, and additional arrangements with Scott's provided several thousand bags of soil to support our increased demand. With warmer weather on the way, we needed to expedite delivery and ensure the seeds were planted when the ground was ready. As with a new program, the city hadn't budgeted for it. So we didn't anticipate the large numbers either. So we reached out to our sponsorship team, and they reached out to some organizations and businesses in the community for support. Scott's provided the soil at a discounted rate. Monetary donations were made by Mattamy Homes, Tack Holborn Corporation, Paradise Developments, Fieldgate Developments, and Brampton's own cricket club donated a sizable amount of money as well. Through the program, anytime we communicated the program, whether it was on a website, an e-newsletter, or through social media, our sponsors were credited for their support. Brampton is a mosaic city with a population of more than 650 people. It's a diverse city. Our residents speak more than 89 languages. So when we first announced the program, our media release was translated into the top 10 languages spoken in Brampton, plus French. These were issued to local mainstream and ethnic media for a broader reach. Communication tactics included a dedicated website with full details, including food bank information, an image gallery of residents' garden photos, and much more. To ensure we were regularly communicating and continuing to provide residents with up-to-date information, we started an e-newsletter that went out to those who signed up for the program. We also kept the engagement up by doing gardening videos, where I shared my own tips for my own backyard garden. Stakeholder engagement is always key. An Instagram live chat was held with Frankie Flowers, a popular gardening expert here in Ontario. Within 3 days of launching the program, 6,000 residents had registered, 8,000 were added to the wait list, for a total of 14,000 residents inquiring about the program. The community played a large role in the success of this program. Volunteers worked close to 500 hours to ensure residents received their supplies in a timely manner. Engagement on social media was fantastic. As you can see by the numbers on the slide, we had a lot of hits. Over the summer months, we received many photos from residents, especially beginner gardeners, showing us their gardens and paying their produce forward to others. To me, that was the real success of our program. The City of Brampton is the first municipality in Canada to launch this citywide initiative to support residents in growing their own gardens in response to COVID-19. Other cities in Ontario now have followed suit with a home garden program of their own. So through this program, we wanted to encourage residents who haven't grown produce at home before to do so. Not only is this a way to support their mental health and well-being and to keep them active during isolation, but also to build community pride and connectedness by helping others. We united the city's four main food banks, and residents could either drop off their food or city volunteers would pick them up and drop them off on their behalf. As of last week, more than 9,500 pounds of produce was donated by residents, and more produce was grown and kept by residents for their own use. I know for certain this number will continue to grow as we start harvesting before the weather gets colder. From the initial launch, the response from community was incredible. As I mentioned, within 3 days of launching the program, 14,000 residents inquired about the program. Seeing residents share their photos and stories on social media makes me feel proud. I've had businesses, residents, and others from outside the city tell me what an impact this program has had on the community and for those in need. As the demand grew, the province lifted its restrictions. We were able to reopen and expand our city's existing community gardens, as well as those around our fire stations. We had 8 fire stations, built gardens in their own on the property, the fire stations, and they were fantastic. They produced a lot of vegetables. Oh, what did I do? I think I'm on this one. Here's a snapshot of some of the media attention this program received, the latest one just last week being in the Globe and Mail. At the end of the month, we'll be looking to officially close the program with a media event announcing the final tally. So some of our lessons learned. Over the course of this program, we have seen what interested the community and how collaboratively everyone worked internally to bring this program to life. Now that the program is close to being closed, we have an opportunity to look back. We know the demand was high and the program filled out quickly. Given the pandemic, there was a shortage of seeds, so sourcing them was a challenge. We learned that bag soil was a lot easier for our staff and volunteers to deliver to the residents. As we look ahead, I know the community is excited about this program, to continue the program, and we will be working with ways we can engage with schools and create online gardening communities. So before we end the presentation, I encourage you to visit our website for more information on this program and view many photos from the program. You can visit www.brampton.ca/parks. So I'll leave it now back to our moderators. If there's any questions, we do have, as I say, we do have Rob Gasper, our Director of Parks and Forestry, here to perhaps answer questions to other municipalities that may be listening on the logistics and how successful the program was. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Whillans. That was a great presentation. I have a hard time believing some of the numbers you generated in such a short period of time. So we didn't get any questions through the Q&A box, but I have a bunch myself that I would like to introduce. And maybe Karen, you have some as well. But I'm going to start off. There was one that came in through the chat window. Does the city have a problem with deer?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we do.
What did you do to train or deter them?
Well, I think in our community gardens, and Rob can speak to this as well, are the ones that are city owned or city facilitated. We have got them fenced off. They're with the chain link fence, or some of the firemen have built their own fences out of 2x4s and whatnot. For the residents, I guess we just left it up to on their own. But with Brampton, most of the deer don't usually come into they're very rarely seen inside the city limits. They're usually along our valley lands and our naturalized areas. I have a naturalized area behind my place, and I didn't have any problems with the deers, but I did have a problem with squirrels and possums and raccoons. So we do have a bunch of everything, but maybe Rob, if you want to talk maybe a bit about if we have an issue with deers at our community gardens.
Thanks, Councillor. We really haven't had too much. Most of our gardens, community gardens, are raised beds because of the rabbits and the squirrels coming in. And then we fenced them all with chain link fence. So we haven't had a ton of problem with that. And again, most of them are within parkland that are within neighborhoods. So the deers don't really come in that far.
And if I could just add, so I know this question came up during the opening session with Frankie Flowers, and he was kind enough to give a plug for Scott's Animal Be Gone product. So that's a product that is available across Canada and is meant to deter the little critters. It contains Bitrix, which is a common bittering agent in a lot of consumer products that prevent children and animals from ingesting harmful products. So that is a product that you can spray around your gardens to train the animals to not eat your fruits and vegetables.
Terrific. This is a question that I was kind of thinking about too that came up in the Q&A session. It's around cost, because of course municipalities such as yourselves, I'm sure, have budget constraints and everything. But the question was more specifically around cost per site or cost per household. Did you have an average cost per household for running the program?
I think Rob could probably clarify this. I do know that the sponsorships with the monetary donations that they gave was able to offset, I think it was close to 50,000, we were able to offset the cost. But I think the overall program itself was around, Rob will correct me, around 275, I think 275,000. But as per cost per resident, maybe Rob, you can step in here. I think you've got that calculated, don't you?
Yeah, we had the cost between $35 and $45, depending on whether it was soil that we were delivering or we had delivered. The costs varied. Obviously, when the bags were probably the most efficient and cost-effective way to go, and it was just easier to get them out, which brought our costs down on man-hour time to get them out. We were delivering yards of soil one truckload at a time, which, you know, if you don't kind of look at an area and try to get 10 houses that are within the next, few streets away, then it can be time consuming. So the bags were the best way to go. Absolutely.
Perfect. Some more questions have come in. What types of seeds were you giving? Were they 100% veggie or?
Yeah, all the seeds were vegetables, and I think we gave them, I think it was 6 varieties, Rob, if I'm correct. They're mostly lettuces, stuff that would grow fast. If people wanted tomatoes or the squash varieties or zucchinis, I did grow about 2,000 of those myself at home, and I donated those mostly to the community gardens to get them started. But I did donate quite a few to people that I knew that would be providing to the food bank. I was pretty specific on who I gave the plants that I started indoors to, because I wanted to be sure that was going to the food banks. But I think, if Rob, maybe you can elaborate on, but I think most of the vegetable seeds were like beans, peas, lettuces, carrots, radishes, beets, those type of seeds.
Yeah, you're right on, Councillor Whillans. That's exactly what it was. We tried to keep it as simple as we could. We got, I think it was 30,000 seeds that we had staff dividing up and volunteers that had come in. And then the volunteers started delivering them to the houses even before the soil was delivered, just to get them out and get them ready with the information pieces that we gave all residents on how to start their garden and then how to take care of it from there.
Yeah, we were pretty fortunate too with one of our growers, Mocon Greenhouses in Brampton here. They grow a lot of our annuals and for our flower beds. And because the pandemic sort of affected them as well and affected our own gardens, our flower gardens, flower beds around the city, they actually had some vegetables that they weren't able to get rid of because people just weren't buying them. So they donated those as well, and we used a lot of those around our fire station garden. So we were very fortunate on that part. And they did say they would continue on next year with the program with us as well. So.
Okay, that was actually going to be one of my questions. Did you involve or ask for sponsorship from some of the local garden centers and or growers to help offset some of your costs?
Yeah, we had a couple of Mocon with one of them, and we had the Heart Lake Garden Center, which is falls under Frankie Flowers' regime. They're all part of a group, and they helped us get some seeds and some plants early when people seemed to be struggling. We were able to secure some stuff from them as well. So yeah, we had some local people, which is very important, and we would always want to recognize our local growers as well. So because Brampton
So
is the flower town. So
good. I have to ask about your virtual background. Is that the fruits of the labor of the project?
those are actually vegetables that I just recently took to the regeneration food bank. I was fortunate enough. I've got a fairly big garden and an understanding wife, and she jumped in with the program as well. And earlier in the year, I couldn't find the picture, but we had, I think the second weekend in May, I'd already delivered full heads of lettuce and full leaf lettuce to the food banks, because I did cold frames. I put a lot of cold frames and plastic, like arched, covered, like almost like a greenhouse, but not heated. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. I have a couple more. Karen, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
Well, why don't we make sure that we ask or answer the questions from the attendees, and if we have any time left, I do have a couple questions.
Okay, I think we answered what kind of seeds. You answered the question without me asking about the bag soil. What was the budget? I think you mentioned that the city budget was $275,000. Is that what you said?
Well, we didn't really have a budget, because when I came up with the idea, I kind of ran it by the mayor, and honestly, I was expecting to get 300 or 400 people sign up for the program. I thought that would have been fantastic. I think the first 24 hours we had over 2,000 people sign up. So of course our mayor he said, let's go to 3,000, and then let's go to 4,000. And Rob and I said, we're going to 5,000. We ended up going to 6,000. He would have preferred to go to 10,000. We had to cut it off. So we didn't have a budget. And so we reached out to, like we say, we reached out to the sponsors, and we thought, it's a way to get people out. So even if it was fully funded by the city, it would have been a good program anyway. It got people out in difficult times, and it got people outside and enjoying the fresh air. And it's all part of what we want to do in Brampton with, our community energy plan that was just passed. It's food security, and it's also good for the environment. So we weren't really too concerned with the budget. Rob pulled whatever hair he had left out when we started this program, because if it wasn't for his staff, I don't think we could have pulled it off. They were fantastic. Really, they needed things to do, because they were all shut down as well. Our gardeners were looking for stuff to do, looking to come back to work, and this program really provided a lot. So it was money that we weren't spending in our community centers, our rec centers, our sports fields. Everything was shut down. So it just really was a diversion of money that would have been spent elsewhere on programs.
So a couple more. Did the new garden growers have to prep a piece of space or build a raised bed, or did they just fill up a piece of grass?
Yeah.
Or?
I'm thinking some of them may have had an area where they had a garden and they used the soil as an additive to enhance their garden. But I think a lot of them did. They sent pictures of where they've created a raised bed, or they've created a box, a box 3 or 4 feet off the ground. We had one group, Brampton Cricket Club, actually, that donated monetary funds. They actually, I think they built, what did they say, Rob, 8 gardens or 6 of these boxes that they took to seniors in their community and helped them get their garden started. So yeah, I think it was a combination of both.
Okay. Are you going to do the program next year?
Absolutely. And Rob and I are working on a way to make it a little more efficient, a little more self-reliant. Of course, we'll be turning to hoping Scots can help continue on with the program, and our local growers as well. But we're going to try to make it more self-sufficient. We're looking at maybe an idea of a lottery, and it'll be a charitable donation that they'll get receipts for. And if we only have 2,000 people get selected for the garden, then it's going to make it more manageable.
Okay. Do you have any specific advice for other communities that maybe want to start this? Easy way to get going, or?
Yeah, I think talk to the local sponsors, local community members. Start the program small. We had no idea we were going to have that many people sign up, but it's encouraging to see that many people wanting to get involved. But I think start the program small. I've reached out to some communities in Ontario here that are interested in the program. I know Ottawa has started something similar. I know that Sudbury has started something up there as well. Whitby was inquired about some stuff. So we've said we've got the whole program, what we did, the logistics, how we got started, and we've got it in a booklet that we're sharing with municipalities, that they're free to use our program. They can copy it, because when somebody imitates something you've done well, it's kind of nice. It's a nice feeling.
So then anybody, any municipality across the country that wants to do this could contact you and get a copy of your booklet.
Absolutely. I think Rob's got the whole documentation all ready to send out, PDF or wherever they want it. So yeah, reach out. We'll share our successes and our failures, our challenges, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, Karen, we got maybe time for one question if you had one that you wanted to put forward.
Sure. Mine had to do with the extension of the program next year. And is there anything that you're doing to encourage those people that you can't give soil to start gardening?
Yeah, I think communication is the big part. We had a lot of residents that some just took seeds, some didn't take any soil at all. They said some of them actually went out and purchased soil on their own and just want to be involved with the program. So I think through our social media, through our communication with the existing ones we have a document, we have a database of all the ones that were involved with the program now. The ones we're on the waiting list, we'll try to address some of them next year. I think it's just communication out there and letting them know about food security in our community. It's very important. And I think just, yeah, reaching out to them. And if I would love to encourage people to do it at no cost to the city, but that's probably not going to happen. But I think communication to them all is very important, and we plan on reaching out through our social media, and we'll get ramping up with this probably in January or February. We'll get an earlier jump on it.
Well, we'll expect to hear from you then.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much. It was great to come on here, and thank you, Rob, for all your staff and all your help. The Parks and Forestry were fantastic. Like I say, we couldn't have got this pulled off without them. And like I say, they just jumped at the chance. They were really excited about it, and they did a great job.
One more that you can answer is a yes or no, I guess. So I'll sneak it in. Then we have to get going. Sure. Are you planning on any kind of exit survey of the participants from this year?
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Are you planning on any kind of exit survey from the participants from this year?
I think we are, aren't we, Rob? I think maybe Rob,
we are going to send out, it'll be a very small survey, but just to get feedback from the people we did deliver soil to and seeds, to see if we can do it a little better, if we can do it a little more efficiently, but more or less to see how the program went and get feedback on maybe how many did deliver to the food banks, because we really haven't figured out a way to figure that one out.
Yeah, we did have one of them, just quickly, a couple of the food banks. I know that Knight's Table and I know Regeneration, they kept track of the people that were bringing them in, the families, the different families that were bringing them in. So that'll help. We'll get that information from them and try to expand on it, because it's difficult, because some people just drop it off and they don't want their names mentioned. So it's challenging in that respect. But we've got some things we've got to perfect for sure. But by all means, contact us for any information.
Okay. We just had a comment saying hats off. I agree.
Thank you.
It looks like a wonderful program and something that can be emulated without a lot of difficulty. So thank you so much to you and to Rob and to Karen for sponsoring and participating today. I've just got a few closing remarks, and then we'll carry on. We hope, number one, that the participants today will be participating in the next one, which starts in roughly about 10 minutes. It's a very important topic, actually, especially for cities and communities that have issues with failed landscapes or landscapes that just don't seem to perform well after they're in. I know I have problems in my own municipality here like that. So it's on the Canadian Landscape Standards, which is a resource that quite simply all municipalities have to have. So we'll see you there.
I think anyway, thank you very much, Karen, for all your help, and we look forward to.
And unless there's something else from any of the other panelists, I think we're good to go.
Good, great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.